On the morning after your vacation ends, you wake up early. Not because you are rested, but because your phone buzzes 3 times. First, a meeting reminder. Then, a voice message from your boss. And finally, an automatic credit card deduction notice. You stare at the ceiling for a few seconds, unable to recall which city you are in. The curtains remain drawn. Your half-open suitcase lies by the door. And sunlight slips through the gap, illuminating the airport sticker like a quiet question. Are you really back? You get up, brush your teeth, wash your face, and stand in front of the mirror. Your face still bears the remnants of a beach tan, but your eyes have already settled into exhaustion. The vacation is over, you tell yourself. It is time to return. You boot up your computer, and the calendar pops up, crammed with meetings, reminders, and pending tasks that stretch beyond the screen. You start clicking mechanically, all the while thinking, why does it feel even more tiring than before the break? You thought you had recharged. Yet your body resists, your mind feels blank, and even coffee cannot rescue you. This is a moment familiar to many, the gap between vacation and reality. There is no dramatic breakdown, no emotional collapse, just a strange void, as if your soul missed the flight, and only your body showed up for work. Outwardly, everything seems fine. You log in on time, smile in responses, nod during meetings, and even send a few light-hearted emojis. But deep down, you know those words are not what you truly want to say. You are simply performing the role of someone back to normal life, and this normal is profound fatigue. You have considered escaping, but you dare not voice it. You fear being labeled fragile, lazy, or unprofessional. You worry others will think you are not ready to get into the groove. So you silence that inner voice as naturally as you snooze your alarm each morning, though it proves just as ineffective. You are not without efforts to snap out of it. You have tried making plans, switching mindsets, using exercise, coffee, and time management to reclaim yourself. But those efforts are like lines drawn in the sand. The first wave washes them away. You begin to wonder, am I too sensitive? Can everyone else adjust quickly, while I remain stuck in the mud? But is that truly the case? Why do we feel free, relaxed, and full of possibilities on vacation, only to fall into a silent trap upon returning to daily life? Why do those who relax the most suffer the hardest comeback? Why is the desire to escape not just post-vacation, but a yearning from the depths of our repetitive days? If you have ever stared blankly at your computer screen, lost in the blue sky of your wallpaper for far too long, if you have glimpsed a version of yourself yearning for a different life in the car window during your first commute back, if you have felt this discomfort, indefinable yet undeniably real, then it is not your problem alone. It is not laziness, nor lack of professionalism. It may simply be a quiet reminder to yourself. You deserve a life that does not require escape. You begin readjusting. On the first day, you set your status to online. Reply to colleagues with the trip went smoothly, thanks for asking. On the second day, you chase unfinished projects, saying on it right away while opening 5 tabs. On the third day, you open your fitness app, check off resume training, and tell yourself time to get moving. Everything appears normal. You show up on time, follow routines, complete tasks, and send the required documents. You even share trip photos with friends, saying this place is really worth visiting, complete with a smiling emoji. No one notices anything amiss, and you have no intention of letting them. You nod in meetings, occasionally adding constructive comments, as if fully immersed in the rhythm. You reopen your calendar, replan the week, list tasks, and check them off one by one. You pretend this is just a transition period, and in a couple of days, you will regain your stride. Yet inside, it feels different. You had just tasted freedom's breath during the vacation. Now back, it is as if you entered a sealed space where the air grows thick. You find yourself growing silent, not from exhaustion or disinterest in speaking, but because you do not know what to say, without seeming not positive enough. You stare out the window, listen to colleagues discuss plans, nod, yet absorb nothing. You start feeling detached, as if observing your own life from afar. You focus on a single message, a number, a chart, just to appear all right. The worst part is, no one questions you, because you truly perform adequately. You even mask the feeling in various ways, telling yourself, it's just been too long since I worked. Scheduling more tasks, thinking busyness will fix it. Feigning excitement, time to plan the next vacation. But you know something is fading. Enthusiasm, patience, your innate curiosity. On vacation, you read books, took walks, held small expectations for life. Now you merely stand by, awaiting the next weekend. You have not truly returned. You have only logged in. You prop up fatigue with smiles, cover chaos with efficiency, tell others I'm good, while feeling hollow alone at midnight. If you have sat on the bed after a shower, staring at the floor for 10 minutes, doing nothing, if you typed and delete, I don't feel right in a chat, if you secretly browse travel apps during lunch, not to book, but to glimpse other lives, that is not disarray. It is a part of you softly asking, how much longer must I continue like this? People often view post-vacation blues as emotional inertia, but it is not laziness or poor adaptation. It is a deep psychological mechanism speaking. The lightness and relaxation you experienced on vacation were not merely because you went on a trip. They arose because, for that time, you could finally pause the performance and temporarily detach from roles. You finally did not need to prove yourself. In psychology, this is known as functional role fatigue. In daily life, you may be an employee, parent, partner, or child, bearing expectations, fulfilling obligations, maintaining stability. You say I can, do I must. Hide I don't want in no time. Swap, I'm too tired for I'm okay. Prolonged in this state, your body enters a high-pressure stability system. To avoid collapse, it must keep running. Yet vacation is the only socially sanctioned chance to legitimately withdraw. You finally ignore others' gazes. Choose not to reply to messages. Say, I'll decide tomorrow. That freedom stems not from the beach, but from psychologically escaping the functional self. The problem is, once this free, you awakens. It becomes hard to pretend it never happened. Returning to routine, facing piled-up responsibilities and pace, you are no longer the vacationing you, but swiftly encased again in the be-useful shell. Thus arises intense contrast. Not physical difference, but existential rupture. Psychologically, this is the emotional contrast effect. Brief lightness amplifies long-standing heaviness. Brief authenticity illuminates years of suppression. The more you truly lived as yourself on vacation, the more reality feels this isn't me. Moreover, you were never taught how to return well. We are taught to take breaks, but no one explains how to end them. No one says recovery does not mean obedience. No one tells you post-vacation emptiness is not pathology, but normal response. Your brain, after briefly experiencing non-defensive state, is thrust back into coping mode. It activates protections, numbness, resistance, avoidance, even indifference. You may become unresponsive to everything. Suddenly, lose all work enthusiasm, or, cycling home one evening, think maybe just quit. But these thoughts are not whimsy. They stem from too long, without permission to ask, what do I really want? This is defense. a delayed explosion. You are not broken. You have simply gone too long without true relaxation. You are not evading reality. You are trying to hold on to the breathing version of yourself. Remember, defense is never defect. It is your way of surviving chaos. That urge to escape is familiar. It did not start with this vacation return, nor with adulthood, work, or anxiety. It began earlier. So early you forgot when. You learned to tuck yourself away. Perhaps in elementary school, halfway through homework, exhausted. You said, "I need a break," only to hear a frown, "And how long have you been at it?" Don't be lazy. Perhaps crying at home, "I really don't want to go to school." Met with a flat reality doesn't let you do whatever you want. Or a morning when the alarm rang thrice. Too sleepy for 5 more minutes in bed. Your mom at the door. Wait until you're in society. See who waits for you. Those voices were small, but they planted rules repeatedly in your heart. No stopping, no weakness, no bargaining. Thus you habituated suppressing escape impulses. You learned to tell yourself, "Don't be dramatic. This tiredness is nothing. You'll get used to it." You turned numbness into skill, persistence into the only safe way to live. Unknowingly, each I can endure stuffed another foreign weight deeper inside. As a child, you perhaps fantasized about a different life. On trains, desks, rooftops, hallway windows. You imagined running away to a place where no one knows you, demands performance, or says you should, but you stayed, became the mature one everyone praised. You thought it was growth, until one day in career, family, society, utterly exhausted, wanting escape yet trapped. That escaping you never vanished, just hidden deep. Vacation awakened him. Returning, you find him still there, unwilling to leave, because he went unseen too long, unvoiced too long. It is not failure to adapt to life. It is finally hearing your long, weary inner self. "I'm really so tired." You always assumed you were accustomed to surviving pressure, switching roles, placing what I want last. You asked not if rest is due, only can I persist one more day? Not if you wish to, only do others need me? Over time, this became your self-definition. You began believing, without effort, I'll fall behind. No value, no love. If I'm good enough, I'll avoid disappointment. These are not slogans. They are survival laws, silently learned from experiences. Perhaps demeaned for a failure, labeled too emotional for self-expression, or simply too long without "Are you okay?" So you stopped asking yourself gradually. You forbade collapse, forbade blankness, forbade "I don't know what I want." You became the perpetual planner, the one needing little emotional support, the mature one. Yet, you know, those plans, efficiency, control, build a dam against inner chaos. And this dam leaks every vacation end, because you briefly tasted no defense state, but cannot sustain it. Deep inside lies an unquestioned belief. If I stay useful, I'll be safe. The cost, discarding useless parts. Your sensitivity to beauty, soft expectations, courage to say, "I don't want to," curiosity about life. You lock them in a drawer labeled later, but later never opens. You live like a precision system, working, responding, performing, delivering, but when idle, bottomless emptiness. As if your life builds on others' expectations. Without them, you lose identity. You tried change, reducing tasks, meditating, scheduling me time. But a deeper voice says, "Is this selfish? What about others if you rest? If you truly relax, you can't return. so you revert to familiarity. Keep performing, bearing, normal. You turn escape into luxury fantasy, browsing flights and videos, confirming the world exists. And you retain some dreams, but those dreams are temporary shelters. Reality knocks. You thought it phasic fatigue, but now realize chronic self-deprivation accumulated over years. You begin understanding the issue is not quick boredom, but long denial. You have been exhausted for ages, not from lack of strength, but never allowed vulnerability, not laziness, but habituated to uncared for existence. You see escape impulses, not as flaws, epidemic, but body and emotions signaling, this is no longer safe. You mistook needing to be strong, useful, always on for worthiness of love. Yet you long deserve gentleness, even unproductive, just sitting blankly. You are not insufficiently effortful. You efforted too long without permission to pause, not lazy. You finally tasted self on vacation, not shirking responsibility. You seek breathing room. You grasp what you called emotional breakdowns at protests against overuse, lost drive. Is the soul saying, no more acting? These insights change nothing overnight. Tomorrow, work, emails, calendar planning. But you cease berating the self, unwilling to rise, shaming the one browsing travel pics, scolding the one blank in the office restroom. You learn to sit with the escaping self. Look at him, whisper, you are always here, no need to hide. We can take it slow. You realize this is not weakness, it is survival. Not retreat, self-preservation. Not failure, boundaries, not inadequacy. Too long without asking, what life do I want? You may not answer yet, that's fine. You may not change immediately, that's fine. You have begun listening to yourself, that suffices. You may not overhaul life instantly. Tomorrow, punch in, feign energy in meetings, browse maps at lunch without booking. No matter, healing is no sharp turn. It is, time and again, when escape urges rise. Refraining from self-scolding, you permit slowness, unanswered messages, doing nothing. You brew hot water at night, not for detox or ritual, but knowing you deserve care. You voice, I don't want to, despite guilt, tone unsteady, but you try. You keep vacation photos on desktop, not evading reality, but reminding, that was me. I was truly happy. You no longer rush back to normal, questioning if normal suits you. You redefine rhythm, no longer measuring value by efficiency, existence by completion. Sometimes, bus window gazing for 10 minutes. No learning, growth, input. Yet those minutes feel more real than a day's meetings. You finally understand. Some escapes are not cowardice, but instinct to near your true self. You need not become another. You simply release the always right persona. You allow, when wind blows, standing a while. No hurry. On an ordinary day, leaving the office, sun on shoulders. You no longer say so tired. You say, I'm still here. Not perfect you not, full energy you not ready you, just a living you. Perhaps this is the start, starting not from departure, but from stopping, not elsewhere, but daring to face the present self. Because healing is not becoming new. It is slowly remembering the you that existed before fear,